What's going on, HEX community? It's Matt here from Crypto Coffee. Today, you might have noticed I'm wearing my rose-colored glasses, because that's typically how I like to see the world. For those who are not familiar with the term, rose-colored glasses is essentially another saying or idiom for just being optimistic about things. And I'm going to have to take these off right now because I can't really see shit, to be honest, with them on. As far as the computer screen goes, I don't even know if you can tell they were rose-colored, but that's kind of how I have to look at things in times like this. We got to stay optimistic, and not to the point of being foolish about it. Not foolishly optimistic, but realistically optimistic. And so I'm coming at you with another video today to talk all things HEX, not really focusing on the coronavirus issue too much. I think we all are kind of doing our part by social distancing. If you listen to Richard's live stream earlier, he definitely drilled that point home. So I'm just here to talk about all the good stuff through my lens of the world as it pertains to HEX and everything else that comes to mind. So what I'm looking at right now on the screen here is our very own HEX to ETH pair on TradingView. Well, it's not on TradingView, but it's using TradingView's software. So this is a legitimate chart with data pulled live from Uniswap. And it's pretty awesome, guys. We have got officially a Loch Ness Monster pattern going on. So that's a new one. You know, I thought I'd seen it all in crypto, but I guess, you know, mythical creatures really do exist, and that's HEX for you. So, you know, what more fitting of a shape than, you know, a Loch Ness Monster? You know, is it real? Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But look at this chart. This chart speaks for itself, guys. You can clearly see we've had a weird kind of intro to the adoption amplifier events. We kind of, you know, plateaued steadily downwards at first, popped up huge, and then had a big sell-off on FUD. But the reason we love sell-offs, guys, is because it's paid to stakers. Anyone that emergency unstakes their HEX stake, well, all that stuff gets distributed evenly to all of us faithful stakers. So, and what else? What other kind of coin do you see with pumps like this that just keep going up and up and up in a bull flag? You know, you don't see 3 bull flags in a row usually without a significant drop off. So this just goes to show you the HEX mechanism of staking in action. It's really easy to buy, not so easy to sell, especially when you factor in the just mental rewards factored in by time a long ways down. Now, a lot of times I've been thinking to myself, you know, there's not much new to talk about in HEX, but that's really kind of bullshit, guys. There's always something to talk about when it comes to HEX. And so I am just going to go through a couple of the best, most awesome things that I've seen so far in maybe the past week or two. And we'll drill into them a little bit more just so, you know, you can all realize how big of a deal all this stuff is that's happening right now. So if you're not aware, HEX is being listed on 3 new exchanges in the past maybe week and a half. So in the past 10, maybe 11 days, HEX has been listed on 3 pretty large Chinese exchanges. So the China rush is coming, guys. And let me go into some of these exchanges right now. So what do we got? At first we had one called cat.ex. So cat.ex. Which according to CoinMarketCap, I know we don't like CoinMarketCap. We're all Coin Paprika fans now, bunch of weirdos, but CoinMarketCap is still useful for certain things, and they did even revise their, they did have to revise their volume ranking metrics to try to get rid of exchanges that show wash trading, meaning just trading from hand to hand without really any people doing the trading, mostly just the exchange doing it. So CoinMarketCap is trying to get rid of fake volume and bullshit exchanges. And so they're somewhat trustworthy. And part of that, through part of that process, is partially why HEX isn't accurately represented, because Uniswap is not, you know, a valid exchange worth noting the volume in their eyes. But cat.ex has $800 million USD of volume. And that puts it at, let's try to find this in the big list of all exchanges, cat.ex. Now, I've never been there. I'm not I don't speak Chinese. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not actually Chinese. But number 29, guys, $805 million in daily volume. So pretty impressive, and that's putting it right under the 1 billion mark, which in my eyes is kind of like the top players. So from 26 and up, we've got exchanges doing $1 billion. And that leads me into my next point. We've got abit.com, abit.com, who's also just started listing HEX. You could see the official listing right here. And they're not really registered on CoinMarketCap at all. So maybe they are known to do wash trading. I know that the Chinese exchanges have been known to fake report volume at times. At least that's word on the street, allegedly. But I can believe that. And so therefore, CoinMarketCap.com is not reporting ABIT volume. However, if you take it for what it's worth on page 1, we've got 2,000 Bitcoin exchanged on the BTC USDT pair in the last 24 hours. So yeah, all the Chinese exchanges seem to like USDT. Maybe that's just because it's like the only one that's really hit over there. They haven't really caught up with the USDCs of the world. But yeah, 2,000 Bitcoin in 24-hour volume would be, roughly times 6,000. That would be $12 million in volume. Plus, if we just super assume everything and take all the rest of the pairs, let's call that maybe 100 million in volume. So nothing to write home about, but 100 million would put us at approximately exchange ranking number 60-ish. So not quite in the scam territory, pretty legit still. So ABIT, nothing to write home about, but probably not a scam. It's Chinese, so who knows? Cat.ex is number 29 in overall volume worldwide for crypto. And coming up on April 1st, I believe, is the big kahuna of it all, which is LBank. Now, LBank regularly does over $1 billion of USD volume per day. So where does that put us in the overall rankings on LBank? Let's take a look. 19. Guys, we're on the number 19 exchange, right behind Binance. So we're on the exchange that is runner-up to Binance that could probably flip over from day to day. If you don't realize how huge this is a giant thing to celebrate or just, take a look at and really just take this into your mind and internalize this. We are on an exchange nearly, pretty much equal to Binance, but just not nearly as known to us because we're all English speaking, probably mostly in the US, Canada, and I'm sure we're a worldwide phenomenon, obviously, but a lot of people in the Telegram group might not have heard of LBank, and I hadn't either until I went and looked it up. But man, guys, this is some big news. If this doesn't impress you, I don't know what will, because, what do we have after this to go? We've got really just the big dogs after that. Binance is literally next in line. I'm not saying it's going to get listed overnight. We have to make that happen. But Hotbit, Bit4X, MXC, I haven't really even heard a lot of these top 10 before. So maybe they're all kind of Chinese exchanges. I don't know personally, but this is stuff to get riled up about, guys. On day 115, 16, we're 1/3 of the way done with the adoption amplifier, and we're already on 3 of the top 100 Chinese exchanges, 2 of which regularly do about $1 billion USD in trading per day. So crazy stuff, guys. Really awesome. What else is going on? Well, we dropped 4.07% today. Nothing astronomical. What goes up must come down a little bit, right? So relatively new all-time highs, not at the top, but we're kind of pushing around 4 ten-thousandths of a dollar. 4.5 ten-thousandths of a dollar. Pretty cool stuff there. Let's just keep chugging along the list. This was a really cool idea that Richard retweeted, but whoever runs the HEX Crypto Twitter said it looks like somebody's been sending out lots of 1,000 HEX transactions, which, as you can see on the hexviz.xyz screenshot here, made it look like it's almost broken, like they're spamming up the screen with all these transactions going out to random people. And normally I kind of hate when people send dust of other coins to my Ethereum wallet because it just makes it look, it's like, what is this stuff? I've seen so many scams and crappy projects in my day that most of the time I don't bother to look into it anymore. But I am not your average crypto user, right? So anybody with an Ethereum wallet, think about this. And this is a good thing for any of us to go do. If you've got a lot of extra HEX laying around, just send it out to random people or people that you know, just so that they have it in their wallet. Because by the mere exposure of having it, it'll warm them up to the fact of HEX just existing as a cryptocurrency. And also, it might prompt interest to further research into HEX. So it's a great idea for onboarding. There's no better onboarding than just kind of freemium. So you're giving them a little bit for free, and then the rest is up to them in their hands at that point. So you kind of do want to make sure that you're sending it to active Ethereum addresses. So I would hope that this individual is looking at Ethereum addresses and saying, oh, have they made a transaction in the past week? If yes, then they're considered active, and then send them 1,000 HEX. It would definitely be a waste to just start sending HEX to random Ethereum addresses. I'm not saying do that. But, for example, I just did that on my YouTube channel the other day. Somebody put their Ethereum address in my comments on YouTube. And I went to that person, followed them, tried to see if they were a real person. And it looked like somebody from Indonesia, that just average person that had a lot of videos of their baby and just generic crypto stuff. And so I sent them 1,000 HEX just because. Because, maybe they seemed new to HEX, let's just say that. So if you have the opportunity, guys, I think sending somebody a little bit of HEX just so that they can start to check it out and play around is a great idea. And now, guys, one cool thing I wanted to start to talk about. I don't know if anybody's really mentioned this yet, and I'm not sure. I don't have 100% confidence in this, but it's very exciting because it's a new platform called Incognito that's available on the App Store and Google Play that can potentially provide a private network of transactions and basically just privacy right here, right now, to any of your, not only Ethereum, but HEX transactions as well. So it's called Incognito, and I've been checking it out. It's been recommended by a few notable people in the crypto space, and that's why it piqued my interest. I haven't been able to verify any of the code myself, but if you search for audit in the Incognito search bar, by the way, this is Incognito in app, right? So they're using the same name as an Incognito browser, so it's kind of confusing. Not really the best brand name, in my opinion, because people are just going to get it confused with Google Incognito mode. But that's what they picked. So, and you could tell they're not a brand-focused company. This website's not trying to push anything down your throat and sell you anything. Quite frankly, this looks like a project that is hardcore driven by developers. They actually have the third most commits to any crypto project right now, right behind, I think, USDT and something else. So they've got a group of people, a developer community really, that has committed 20,000 pull requests to the code in the past, I don't know, I think it was the past month from the chart that I saw. Yeah, here it is, 25,000 commits, right behind LBRY credits and Ethereum. Not USDT, Ethereum. So, I mean, that's the third highest activity rank in cryptocurrency GitHub activity. Pretty impressive. I'm not saying that makes this a good project, but it's something to check out. And let's get into why. So like I mentioned earlier, privacy is something that we all want, and something that a lot of cryptocurrencies and public blockchains do not have. Now, what is the problem that Incognito is solving? Well, here is their white paper, and it's pretty simple and easy to understand, which is good. That's what you want in a white paper. It's semi-complex as an idea, but it's not just, a Rube Goldberg machine, so to speak. It's an actual, understandable concept that, to me, makes a lot of sense. The inherent problem that they're solving is basically that crypto networks today, the lack of privacy in crypto networks is a threat to the entire crypto space. This is true. censorship is still possible, which is the whole point of what crypto is trying to avoid. Now, Incognito takes a different approach. So based on the premise that people don't want a new cryptocurrency with privacy. So people don't want to have to buy Monero or buy Zcash or buy all these cryptocurrencies if they want to do private transactions. They want to use what they know and love, and what they really want is privacy for their existing cryptocurrencies, aka an incognito mode for any cryptocurrency. Now, I think that's a great idea personally. How does it work? It's pretty technical. They basically have a shielding mechanism where you have a custodian. I could show the chart here. A custodian actually puts up money into a bond smart contract. And if I wanted to, for example, shield my BTC, I would send it to the smart contract, and the custodian would send me back a proof of deposit and a PBTC or private BTC version of that Bitcoin minted at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, in return, you might be asking, well, how is he trusted to not just run off with the money and act bad? Well, they make this whole system trustless by by taking a decentralized approach to cryptocurrency custodianship. So the current custodians like Coinbase and BitGo, they're definitely not trustless, not private at all. They're insured by basically a company that monitors everything you do. And so it can tell where your Bitcoins are coming from and where they're going. They don't like where your Bitcoins came from or your Ethereum came from. They can shut you down at any time. Now, the Bond smart contract on the Ethereum platform is essentially the innovation here. So anybody from an external crypto network can deposit their funds into a custodian, but what the custodian has to do is basically put up collateral on their end. And it's collateralized at a rate of, I think, 150%. So, what if the user wants to take their money from the private version back to the public crypto network version? So what if I want to take my PBTC, cash it back out for regular BTC, and the custodian doesn't have the BTC that they said they would have? Well, in that case, the smart contract would automatically release the collateral that they had put up. And so I think the incentive for the custodian then to put up that collateral is they get a little bit of the fees on each private network transaction. Now, could this work as a concept? Yes, definitely it could. Like I said, I have not had the time to look into it. And I did a search for audit, up here just to see if they had one. They don't have an audit yet. So third-party audits looks like a thing that it's on their to-do list, basically. It's been on the to-do list for 22 days. This guy thinks it's important to audit the code, and a lot of people agree. But really what catches my eye about this is that it's not a company trying to sell you anything. It's really just a group of developers and a developer community that essentially made this site as like a forum to just help continue to build the community, build the news, and everything else. And so the initial crypto networks that they allowed to exist on there, that they implemented for their internal privacy network, which is called Incognito, are the Bitcoin and Ethereum ones. And then they've also implemented, the ability to link into their network any cryptocurrencies using ring signatures, homomorphic encryption, and zero knowledge proofs, which are the three of the big privacy kind of protocols right now. Ring signatures, I think, are done by Monero. ZK proofs are, I want to say, done by Tezos. I'm not too sure. And they allow somewhat of transaction scaling with sharding. So again, scalability is not really an issue until people actually use this shit. So adoption is more important. But as opposed to the 7 to 10 TPS that Bitcoin normally does, the sharding of this internal incognito network actually allows you to do 100 transactions per second. And the more shards there are, I think at a max of 64, you could even max out at something like 800 TPS. So that's pretty cool. And on top of all that, they are actually selling a node where it's a physical node that you can buy to put up in your house. I think right now it costs $3.99 US dollars. And, I'm not going to buy one right now because I want to see how this whole thing plays out first. But you can buy one. and you can have it validate transactions on the Incognito network. And what you're paid is a payment of their own, privacy token over time. Now, will this turn out to be a good idea? I don't know. To me, it sounds promising, and what I wanted to do really quick is, obviously, the first thing I wanted to see is, can HEX be added to this? And can we do a private transaction on HEX? So I'm going to try that out right now. All right, we're going to run through this demo really quick. It's my first time trying this out too, so I think that I'm just hoping it works out fine with no hitches. So you can see I've downloaded the app right here, and basically I've got the home, the wallet. If you have a node, you can go to the node section, but it comes equipped with, gives you 0.1 privacy token, which is the coin you need for transaction fees apparently on this network. But apparently the 0.1 that it gives you is enough for like a ton of transactions, because every transaction is like some tiny minuscule amount, like 0.00008 or something like that. And you can see in my wallet here, it comes with the private versions of ETH, BTC, USD. And so obviously the first thing I did was go to add a coin and see if they had HEX. So if I search for HEX in the search bar, you can see here that I've got HEX, the Incognito version, and HEX, the real version, the ERC20 version, which somebody had already added. So that's good. I love to see that somebody already added it. So I went ahead and added it to my wallet as well. So we're going to go back and click on Privacy HEX. You can see I've sent 100 HEX from a MetaMask wallet into here, into this privacy version of the wallet. So when you go to receive, you can either receive from somebody in the privacy network here or out of the privacy network over here. So I went from out of network because I was sending non-private HEX tokens into this HEX network, HEX private network. And when you receive it, it generates a receive address that's only valid for 60 minutes. Yeah, one thing I didn't realize that I forgot to mention before you send it off, so you can see I've got normal HEX sitting here in my wallet, but then I've got to go shield it by pressing the shield button. And if I shield my HEX right here, let's see, it gave me an address to send the normal HEX to so that it would be shielded. So I'll go ahead and send it to that address. I'll send 100. And so it turns out I did it wrong the first time. First time when I deposited HEX into this address, it wasn't shielded. So I just went ahead and deposited 100 normal HEX. Now, that means I can't really send it anywhere because it's not p-HEX, and my balance is still 0 p-HEX. So when I click shield and I press the big shield button, it creates a new address for me to deposit into, which is actually this address. And this address is where I will be sending some more HEX to from my MetaMask wallet to ensure that when it gets into this Incognito wallet, that it's actually shielded. And there it is. So I finished confirming, and you can see I got 100 HEX in here, and it's now registered as 100 p-HEX, private HEX. And I'm going to be sending that, like I said, to my other phone. So we'll go ahead and click send. I'm going to want to send it to someone in the network, so somebody in the Incognito network. And I will send it to, send 10, and we'll just open the other phone here. Got my receive address up, and we'll send it there. So it took about 30 seconds to load, and it says my fee here, as you can see, is like the tiniest, most minuscule fee ever of like I think that's a 1 with 7 zeros in front of it. So we'll send that. I hope it doesn't take forever just because I selected that minimum amount, but that was the default, so we'll see how long it takes to transfer over to the other phone. All right, that took about a minute and said send successfully. So let's hop over and see how long that took. So I've now got minus 10 p-HEX here pending, and we'll go ahead and check out the other device. All right, so I'm refreshing the screen on my other device, and I'm not seeing the 10 HEX popping up yet. However, I did go ahead and look on their Incognito block explorer, and after less than a minute, I had a success message here, and you can see the sender and receiver amount are all totally just non-existent. You can't see them, and we've got the proof over here and some of the details, so you can see the coin details. A lot of these objects or a lot of these values are empty. Like the public key value is empty, value 0. The metadata is totally empty. The transacted privacy coin, it doesn't even tell you which type of coin it was. And a lot of these, this information, this metadata, yeah, it's all empty. So it's a good sign. I believe my transaction went through. You could see the fee, I guess. That's something that's not private, but who cares? It's just a fee. What shard it came from. And, oh, here we go. I just refreshed my screen. All right, well, I don't really have time to explain or to show my other phone right now, but trust me, the 10p hex is there. It took a little bit longer than the actual Block Explorer showed, but I guess that's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep my eye on this and see if it's anything to be seriously interested in, because this could allow for private HEX transactions. And basically, I mean, that could help out a ton of people anywhere that don't happen to want any kind of third party snooping around on what is really truly your own private business. So that's all for today, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Stay quarantined, stay inside, keep calm, and HEX on.